Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Monday, January 28th, 2019. And today we have 2 new days of methane data that we're going to look at on cams, and we'll do a follow-up on sulfur dioxide and comparison with the methane data with the sulfur dioxide data, go over a couple of comments, and then do our earthquake report. So I'm hoping to keep it a little shorter today. So I have Copernicus website pulled up, and we showed yesterday, we showed Friday, the new data was from Friday, and since then they've released data for Saturday the 26th and Sunday the 27th. So I have as the base time Saturday the 26th. So this is where we left off with the data from Friday. And so I already have this movie ready to go here. And I'm zoomed in on the Arctic view so that we can get a really good picture of what's going on with this continued methane release in the Arctic, in the dark, in the winter time up there through a lot of the sea ice. So now it's into the forecast period. Now it's starting over, and we can see so let's just go. When it starts over, I'll just go slowly on the Saturday data. So let's go back to the beginning of Saturday. Let me refresh. So here's what we were looking at. And this had been forecast for this big wave to come up off the ground in Siberia, and then this arm of dark methane to be coming up along the coastline and coming up in the East Siberia Sea, and then it moving across. So this is the actual data of how it played out for Saturday, and then we'll look at Sunday. So this is in 3-hour increments. We can see what's happening. We also have building off the coast to the east of Novaya Zemlya, and then releasing here in the Barents Sea, and this is the Kara Sea, and this is the Laptev Sea over here. So and we go forward another 3 hours, so we can see it moving and releasing, this arm coming out in the ocean, then another 3 hours forward. And we're seeing it move across this orangey, yellow, orangey, red wave moving across the Arctic here towards the North Pole. And then it starts to thin out as far as the red here. It's still moving, and then we're seeing a dark area come up to the east of Novaya Zemlya, and then this is where it ends on Saturday. So it made progress with this arm moving and releasing, and it almost made the release to the North Pole with the actual data. So, and a lot of background methane in this orangey range of 2040 to 2060 parts per billion. And then when it gets up into the bright orange, it's 2080, and then into the red, like here, that's 2100 parts per billion and higher. And then when it gets into this dark brown range, it can be anywhere from 2140 to 10,000 parts per billion. We just don't know from this data the exact number, and it doesn't really matter because it's a lot, whatever it is. So now we've got Sunday pulled up as the base time, Arctic and surface level. So this is where it left off, and so I have this movie loaded up, and so let's see what happened. Okay, so it did continue to move across, and then now it's in the forecast period, and we can see that arm of methane releasing in these Canadian islands, and it released in this northern part of Greenland, and then all the way across the Atlantic here over to Norway, and it comes around releasing as well. And we can see a huge release coming up from Europe and this area here, Europe and Russia, huge release. We can see it just coming up in waves. So, and we found that the forecasting for the methane is fairly accurate in CAMS. So we can see once it releases, then it dissipates. So we can see in the forecast period another big release coming up in this Kara Sea to the east of Novaya Zemlya. But we'll be watching it as it goes along. So we're seeing a second wave of methane being released now in the forecast period starting about Tuesday into Wednesday, and this is from that East Siberia ice shelf. So as one finishes, another one builds. We can see it here. That's Tuesday, and then here's Wednesday and Thursday. So that's what the Arctic looks like with methane. Now, I just want to review what we covered yesterday as far as sulfur dioxide coming up off the west coast or along the west coast of California. We saw that, and that was from Saturday, and it moved out. It seems like it was a one-time large release, and it can be an indicator of some kind of seismic activity that's happening or is going to happen in the next few days. I've seen this as an indicator of a large earthquake that could happen. Not in that same area necessarily, it can be, but I've also seen it happen 50 or 100 miles away from a release, usually a day or two after a big release like that. So that's just what I've observed. I'm not forecasting anything. So we have the methane data from Saturday here, the 26th, and so let me move it back to Saturday. So when that sulfur dioxide was releasing, this is what the methane looked like in California on Saturday. So if we load this movie up, there was a big release here where it spreads out, and then this is into the forecast period on Sunday. But we have Sunday methane, so I'm not so concerned about the forecast period. I'm mainly wanting to see what it actually looked like when that sulfur dioxide was releasing. So I'm going to reload for Saturday again. So here's what it was looking like on Saturday when this was happening. And it wasn't just releasing here, but it was in lesser degrees all the way across to the east, looks like almost all the way to Texas, and then to the west down in the Pacific Ocean, and north up into Oregon and Washington. So, and this sulfur dioxide, this is the total column reading, but it goes up so fast and it hangs around for a while. So, okay, so if we look at this again, where it's releasing on Saturday and going into Sunday, that's where it's really starting to spread out. But let's now choose Sunday as our base time and see what it looks like. Okay, so this is the methane, and these are very high readings coming off and out of the ocean next to, this is the San Francisco area, and then coming down through the middle part of the state. There's a little break right down here, and then it picks up again in Southern California, and then it's releasing in the ocean to the west of San Diego and that area. So that's a lot of methane. So if we load this movie up for Sunday, you'll be able to see how the methane progressed. And you can also see, if you live in other parts of the United States, you can see what's going on. There are huge methane releases throughout the United States, just depending on where you live. If you live in a densely populated area and it's real humid, you're going to have more methane release than drier places. And we've talked about where methane comes from. I'm not going to go into all that again. So there it is into Tuesday. So if we reload to Sunday, that's what it was looking like on Sunday. Now sulfur dioxide on Sunday, it was moving out, but it looked like there was more releasing, maybe from the ocean, and supposedly there's volcanic areas here on the seabed that are becoming active again. So, you know, it could be connected with that. I just don't know. And then, but you can see how the sulfur dioxide spreads it out through as it gets up in the atmosphere, and pretty much covers the whole area. And then here's what it looks like on today, Monday, and so it's still kind of reddish, moving around in the Pacific Ocean and into the gold. The red is about 50 parts per million, but this is more of a reddish brown, so that's more like 20. So I'd say that's between 20 and 50 parts per million. And then when we get into the dark tan or dark gold, it's like this area, it's 10 parts per million. And then the cream colored is 2 parts per million. But what sulfur dioxide does when it gets up in the atmosphere, it does cause a dimming effect, but it also breaks down the ozone layer, and so it's serious. It's a serious deal. So I might come back to these pictures in a moment here, but let's go over and cover our comments. We just had a couple to go over. I'm just going to cover comments from the video from yesterday. Valhalla 56 says sulfur is kinda of the odor of hell. Yeah, I agree, Valhalla. And then Mary Dalton, I don't remember seeing Mary Dalton commenting before, so welcome, Mary. And she says, "Hi Margo, I have so much to say, but we'll try to keep this brief so you don't have to read too much. Thank you for creating this tribe. It gives great comfort and helps us not feel so alone with all this dark information." You're welcome, Mary, and welcome. You do an excellent job communicating all this science clearly. Thank you. I'm 55 and, like you, am tired and ready to go. However, I worry about all the innocent animals, including my pets, and pray to God for mercy, and the suffering is as brief as possible. I live on the central coast of California on the Monterey Bay. Saturday, methane/sulfur dioxide plume day, was unusually warm on the coast, 72 to 74 degrees. Today, Monday, January 28th, there is a winter spare the air day, but without a clear explanation why. There are currently no large fires like this summer's campfire, but the air quality is bad. Is it related to the mysterious sulfur dioxide burst? Of course they are spraying us constantly, especially the last few days. I also agree that it is a privilege to be here at such a momentous cosmological time. This is a transformation the Earth has not seen in her 4 billion years. It is our job to pay attention. Reminds me of the work of Brian Swim and Joanna Macy. Again, many thanks, and I hope the internet stays up long as possible so we can continue watching together as this unfolds. God bless you, and thank you. Well, thank you, Mary. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your comment. And thank you for reporting from Monterey Bay in California. And I would say, considering the methane that I just showed, you can't have good air quality with that kind of methane. It just can't be good. And you've got the sulfur dioxide too. And that's still hanging around. So, they factor in ozone and particulates and all kinds of stuff in order to make their ruling on what kind of day it's going to be. So, I just know the air is bad pretty much everywhere you go, but especially when you have stuff like this going on, this is definitely going to affect the air quality. So I would say, just keep a heads up, and thanks for reporting, and thanks for being there. As for your animals, the innocent animals and pets, and that their suffering be as brief as possible. I've had dreams and visions about the sentient life that's leaving and will be leaving the planet. And what I've seen is that there are layers and layers of angels that are clearing the way and making sure that these sentient beings have safe passage. And so that's what I've seen. And if people are new to my channel, I am empathic. I've been on a mystical path, a spiritual and mystical path all my life. I do believe in a creator. I believe in God. I believe that Jesus was our brother and is our brother, and that we can communicate with these other realms and that they're real. And I rely a lot on these higher realms to guide me and to protect me and to help give me strength. And if it weren't for these things and my belief and my experiences, and it's from my experiences that I have this belief, I wouldn't be here today. And I am on a mission from God to show the signs and show them as they're speeding up, as we're entering into these end times, and they're going faster and faster, and the dominoes will be falling. So that's just a little bit about me. And I know a lot of people from the climate science community come to my channel to get the information that I'm sharing. And you know, probably my beliefs kind of rub them the wrong way, but you know, this is my message, and this is my mission. And so, you know, everybody has a right to their own opinion, but this is my message and my mission, and in my community we will be honoring each other here. So thank you, Mary. God bless you, and you know, welcome to our group here. So let's get right into the earthquake report, because we've got some earthquakes that are going to be falling off the map soon. I've got USGS pulled up for 24 hours for all magnitudes. It's showing 203 earthquakes worldwide, and for magnitude 2.5 and higher, it's showing 24 worldwide. The first one I want to cover is this one. It was a 4.3 that happened at Latakia, Greece yesterday. It didn't get listed on USGS until after my show yesterday. It was in the Mediterranean Sea to the east of this red line. It was a 4.3 that happened yesterday at 5:07 p.m. We've been seeing a lot of earthquakes in this region, and now let's see what will be the next one to fall off. The next one is in Puerto Rico, but that's not until 6:04. So let's just go around. We've started in Greece. Let's come down here to Madagascar. We have this one that happened off the northwest coast of Madagascar at it was a 4.6 that came in today at 8:44 this morning. Happened in the water. Then over here in Burma, on the land, was a 4.5 near Piu, Burma, that came in last night at 7:52 p.m., 32 kilometers deep. then coming on around this ring of fire off the coast of this bottom island of the Philippines was a 4.9. It says it was near General Luna. That came in last night at 10:06 p.m., 90 kilometers deep. Then down here as part of Indonesia, 4.6 near Tobelo that came in last night at 8:06 p.m., 228 kilometers deep. So once they get deeper, those are the ones that are going to be shaking the plates. Here's one that happened on land near Abepura, Indonesia. It was a 5.0 that happened this morning at 5:03 a.m. Pacific time. These are all Pacific times that I've got it set to, 66 kilometers deep. Hopefully that didn't cause any damage. That's big enough that it could have. Then down here near Vanuatu, near Sola, Vanuatu, was a 4.9 that happened last night at 7:10 p.m., 35 kilometers deep. Then 5.5 near Lambasa, Fiji, came in this morning at 8 o'clock, 620 kilometers deep. That one will cause movement in the tectonic plates. Then there was a 4.8 near Mata Utu, Wallis, and Futuna. Came in last night at 9:29 p.m. That's all in the South Pacific that we have reported. And we're clear on the rest of that ring of fire on the west side. But look at South America. Let's start down here. And these keep coming in today. They just keep coming in. I'll just start calling them off. There's a 4.2 that came in last night at 6:38 p.m. near Ayapel, Chile. A 4.4 near La Serena, Chile, that came in at 7:33 last night. That one was 41 kilometers deep. Then a 3.4 near Valparaiso, Chile, that came in at 10:46 p.m. last night, 35 kilometers deep. 5.3 near Constitucion, Chile, came in at 1 o'clock this morning. 5.4 up here near Santa Maria, Colombia, came in at 1:07 this afternoon, 19 kilometers deep. And a 4.5 came in near Coracora, Peru, at 3:55 this afternoon, 114 kilometers deep. So let's just zoom into a couple of these, see where they happened. This one was off the coast. This one was not very far off the coast, this 4.4. So I'm looking, because if they were on land, some of these probably could have caused damage. This one was on land, the 4.5. And let's look at this one in Colombia. This one was on land, the 5.4 near Santa Maria. Let's see. Here's Santa Maria. That's the nearest. That's 13 kilometers away. So probably people were okay, unless people were living near the epicenter. Then they could have had some damage. But So there's those. Now let's see what's going on in Hawaii. We're going over to all magnitudes in Hawaii, and we've got 5 earthquakes listed on the map. We've got a 1.9, 2.3. These are at Mauna Loa. There's a 1.1, a 1.8 at Estes, Leilani Estates, sorry, a 1.6 Leilani Estates, and a 1.4 Valhalla. Pahala, not Valhalla. So these are near that larger one that happened yesterday at Mauna Loa. So, you know, it's showing movement and showing activity that people need to be aware of. Now let's go to the Dominican Republic. We've got 14 on the map today. I'll just call them off. 2.5, 2.9, 2.1, 1.8, 2.0, 1.8, 2.0, 3.4 up here in the ocean, 3.2 over here in the ocean, 1.9, 2.8, 3.1 over here in the ocean, 2.1 and 2.9. So that's what we've got, and we can see that most of the magnitudes are in the 2s, but we had quite a few in the 3s. So showing movement there on that Caribbean plate. Now let's go up to Alaska. Let's go to our 2.5 magnitude and higher to start. There was one earthquake of that was 2.5 magnitude here in the Anchorage area. So that means all of these are under 2.5. So let's see what we've got. You open this up a little. So getting all of Alaska in our viewing area is showing 60 earthquakes today. And we got one up at the top end, 2.0 near Koktovik. Here's this one that just came in at 2.1 near Anchor Point. And then they're coming down through the middle of the state and through this area, coming down, and then we still seeing this cluster near Anchorage, and there's 44 in the viewing area here. So the little ones count. It's showing movement. So then there were a couple over here. There's a 1.6 near Yakataga and a 1.8 near Haines Junction. Now let's come down to the United States. We're going to start over here with this 2.1 that came in at New Madrid, Missouri. 7 kilometers deep. It came in at 6:32 this morning. This is one of the hazard zones in the United States. When you turn on the U.S. hazard map, that's smack dab in that New Madrid seismic area. So we want to keep an eye on those, definitely. Now let's go up to the Pacific Northwest next. Another hazardous area. And we can see that our earthquakes, most of them are happening in the yellow areas over here, and yellow and orange and red areas over here. So that's why we keep seeing earthquakes in the same places. These are the hazardous areas. So I'll just call these off. We've got 7 on the map here. A 0 magnitude here at Amboy, Washington. 1.7 Arlington Heights. 1.3 Cowichan, Canada, right there. 0.9 near Erlin's Point Kitsap Lake, Washington. Minus 0.6 over here in Pablo, Montana. Oh, great. 1.6 magnitude explosion near St. Helens happened at a minus 0.3 kilometers depth. So this was here. Wonder how far away it was from the volcano that erupted. Here's the town St. Helens. I don't know where St. Helens volcano is, but that doesn't sound good. And here's the explosion. This is from construction and blasting, and with it being a minus depth, the epicenter happened up in the mountain or on the hillside. So we can see the earthquake makers are back at work today. Let's just see. I'm curious. Let's just see if we can find out where Mount St. Helens is and see how close that explosion was. Let's just type in Google Earth Mount St. Helens. There's the picture of the volcano. It's right there. Wow. Look at that. It's an active stratovolcano located in Skamania County, Washington, in the Pacific Northwest region of the United States. And it has erupted. I think it was the 80s, the 1980s, that it erupted and caused a lot of problems. Huge eruption. I don't know how far it is from there to the city. Let's see. We're just going to do a Dutch sense here. Let's plug in these coordinates of the explosion and see how far that was from Mount St. Helens. So let's do a search. Here's our coordinates, and it's down here. So it was, okay, so it wasn't on the volcano. It wasn't, I should have put a marker. Oh, here's, okay, so here's Mount St. Helens. Up here, the volcano, and here's where they did the blasting or the explosion down here. So still, it's going to cause things to happen. Alright, and then, so that was our first explosion of the day. Then we had a 0.6 near Lowfall, Washington. Lowfall, right up here, northwest of Seattle. Now, let's look at Yellowstone. We've got 7 listed here today. Another explosion, I can see it right here. They show up as diamonds, the diamond things. So let's blow this up. Now there's 6 on the map. I lost one. I'm going to back out. Now I've got 8 on the map. Oh, I've got Nevada and Utah there. Okay, now I've got 7. This explosion was a quarry blast that made a 2.1 magnitude earthquake near Butte, Montana. They keep blasting up there, and it was at -2 kilometers depth, so it's up in the mountain, or on the mountain. And that happened at 12:04 this afternoon. They need to stop that. Now I'll just call them off. 1.1 Lincoln, Montana. 1.1 Lincoln, Montana. 0.9 West Yellowstone. 1.1 Virginia City, Montana. -0.6 near Pablo, Montana, up here. 1.9 near Lima, Montana. So the rest were regular earthquakes. Then down here in Utah, we've got two. We've got a 1.5 near Bluffdale, and this little one down here, -0.4 near Milford. So that's a microquake. When they go into the minus on the magnitude, that's a very small earthquake that would have been too small to feel. Okay, now we're heading over to Nevada. Okay, I'm going to close out. I need to close out some of these browser things because it's starting to use up all my memory. I can tell because the way my screen's acting. Okay. Get that. Get this. That's what I want. Here in Nevada was a magnitude 2.1 explosion near Carlin, Nevada that came in at 1:55 this afternoon, a 0.1 kilometers depth. Right up, well, it's northwest of Elko. Now let's go on down here. So as we're moving on down, this is the Nevada test site area. We're always seeing earthquakes over here. Here's a 1.1 near Alamo. The others are small. Here's a new one, 1.1 near Goldfield, 1.1 near Beatty, and so forth. So we always see them there. 1.7 near Courant. And here's another explosion, a 1.4 magnitude that happened near Gabbs. Came in at 10:53 this morning, 0 kilometers depth. Now coming on up, Lake Tahoe has some activity, it looks like. We've had 2 earthquakes right in the middle of the ocean, not the ocean, the Lake Tahoe. And by the way, the state line between Nevada and California comes right down the middle of Lake Tahoe. So one of these earthquakes happened in Nevada on the east side of the line. It was a minus 0.4, and the other one happened in California on the west side of the line, a minus 0.2. So this one happened at 2:44 this morning, and this one happened at 8:06 last night. Then we've got one up here at Tahoe Vista, a minus 0.4 magnitude microquake, and another one at Tahoe Vista, minus 0.2. So some microquakes there, so that's showing activity. Now let's come on up. That's all in the Reno area. Here's one to the southwest of Chico, a 1.8 near Durham, 4.8 magnitude, 4.8 kilometers depth. Here's a 1.2 near Manton. Now let's go see what else is going on. Here's the geysers. Let's see what's going on at the geysers today. There wasn't anything there yesterday. We've got 3, 1.5, 0.9, and 1.0 right there. Now let's come on down, see what's happening on this San Andreas fault line. Okay, nothing in the San Francisco area. So we're coming down this fault line. Here was a 2.0 near Tres Pinos that came in at 12:58 this afternoon, a minus 0.5 kilometers depth. Remember when we see these that are a negative depth, it means it's up in the mountain or the hill or wherever it is. So if it's not an explosion, it shows there's magma moving up into the chambers of these. A lot of these mountains are old volcanoes, dormant volcanoes, and so the magma is moving enough to cause an earthquake. Caused a 2.0. That's pretty significant. So here's a 0.9 near Pinnacles at 4:50 this morning. This was a 3.7 kilometers depth. Here's a 2.1 near Pinnacles at 10:21 last night, 0.6 kilometers depth. Here's a 1.8 near Parkfield at 1:52 this morning. So that's all that are on that San Andreas fault line. Now let's catch the ones in eastern California. Let's start over here at Mono Lake. We've got 5 here. I'll just call them off. 0.8 right here next to the lake. 0.6, and the rest of these are clustered up over here near Bridgeport. 1.0, 1.5, and 1.1. Then coming on down into the Mammoth Lakes area and the Long Valley Caldera area, we've got 5 here, minus 0.3 right there, 1.2 here, 0.4, 0.2, and 0.3 right there, 3 in a row there. So there's those. Then here's one, 1.0 near Bishop, or west of Bishop. Let's see the depth of that. 7 kilometers deep. Volcanic tableland, what does that tell you? This is volcano territory. Old volcanoes, at least. Here we go. 1.2 near Searles Valley. Here's a 1.1 near Ridgecrest. Here's a 1.0 near Inyokern. Here's a blast. Let's zoom in. .7 quarry blast near Boren at 4:20 today, 0.3 kilometers depth. Here's another quarry blast, a 1.4 near Mojave. They're blasting all the time, these two. They blast almost every day. This came in at 11:51 this morning. It was a minus 0.9 kilometers depth. So that was up in the mountain. A 1.1 at Mojave, or near Mojave. And these quarry blasts do cause movement. Did we see this one? Bodfish, a 1.5. We got that one. Now let's move on into Southern California, the LA area. Let's zoom out to see what all we've got. So we've gotten these, we covered these, Mojave, so we're gotta go here. Okay, in the viewing area are 41 earthquakes in this viewing area. They're small. Let's see if we've got any blasts. Blast. Yep. Here's a blast. 1.0 quarry blast near Bradbury that happened at 1:52 this afternoon. This is right up here. Minus 1.1 kilometers depth, so up in the mountain or on the mountain. Let's see if there's another one. That's the only blast. Let's see if there was an explosion. Nope. No explosions. So that was the only blast. So let's zoom in and see what we've got. Down here we've got some more at Imperial, California. Here's a 1.4. Here's a 1.7. Here's one near Calipatria, 1.3. And then they're just scattered around. Let's see, here's a new one. A 1.4 near Borrega Springs. 1.1. 1.2. Then we have this cluster at Kauai. 15 here. These are all under ones. So and here's a 1.3. So I'm just trying to pick out some of the larger ones. 1.3. Here's a 3 in a row up here. So the rest are lower than that, it looks like. So we've got quite a bit of activity, I would say. And remember, the little ones count. Now we're up to 203 earthquakes in the last 24 hours. Uh-oh. This one just happened. Look at this. 5.0 happened on land in Mexico. It was a 5.0. It just registered. It came in at 4:53 p.m. near San Jeronimo. I don't know how to say that. It is Iztepec, Mexico, 78 kilometers deep. That's big enough to do damage. It was right next to this highway. It looks like 185 to the west side of this highway. Here's Iztepec. I don't know how to. I think it's Iztepec. So that's far away enough. It probably didn't cause any damage, but that's definitely something to write home about. Nothing to sneeze at. 5.0. You would feel that. You would definitely feel that. Let's see if there's anything else we need to look at. We got this one, Cora, Peru. We got those. We got Colombia. I think that's it. This one that just came in. So, I do believe that time is short and that we are in the end times. No one knows the day or the hour. Oh, did I show this one? I forgot to show this one. This was a very important one. I got so caught up showing all those others. Here's this one that happened right on the San Andreas fault line. 2.9 west of Petrolia. Happened at 4:48 this morning, 19 kilometers deep. And you see it's right at the juncture point with the Juan de Fuca plate and the Pacific plate. So this is important. More movement and more things happening all the time. We've had some more come in Alaska. We just had a 2.0 near Yakutaga, Alaska. That just came in. And so that's it. That's the Yakutaga. Here's this one, 2.1 near Anchor, Alaska. That came in at 4:39. So I'll go ahead and sign off. I hope that everyone has a safe evening or day or wherever you're at. And I love all of you very much. I recommend everyone get your spiritual houses in order. And time is short. God bless each and every one of you. And until next time. Hold on. Here's another one. Where did that come from? I don't think that one was on the map. Here's a 1.6 that just now showed up. It happened at 3:10 p.m. but it's just now on the map. This is near Gardner, Massachusetts, a 1.6. Right here. Right there. There you go. You got to keep watching all the time. They'll sneak them in. And you think that you've covered everything, and it's like, oh no, there's more. So I'm going to sign off before more pop up. I love you. God bless you. And I'll talk to you real soon. Good night.